Today I'm using the projection system on the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 3 to help with a little quilt as I go. So as I put my pieces down, I can stitch a perfect accurate seam and then flip this out for an upcoming project that I needed just some quick, easy strips on some batting pre-quilted. Now I am going to show you the tricks for getting the grid set up perfectly for a 1/4 inch seam, which foot you should be using, and how to make sure that when you're quilting, your lines don't kind of extend past the previous amount of stitching from the previous row. So you know how sometimes you get started and then you have that little kind of extra line. So I'm going to show you all the tricks, including how to set up the grid perfectly, how to adjust it for your coloring of your strip, and show you how you really don't have to pay too close attention as you sew to get the results that look perfect. Hi, I'm Sarah from sewingmastery.com, and we're doing all the free video tutorials on this beautiful Designer Epic 3. But today I need a quick project sewn, and since this is the machine I have at my fingertips, I'm using some of the features that are on this machine. I mean, why not? Because this is so easy. Start by coming over to the projection icon and opening it up, and if it isn't already on, you're going to toggle the switch on. Now notice when you do so, the light at the needle does reduce just a little bit, and that's because I have it set to be a lot less. And the lower you set it, the easier it is to see the grid on your fabric. Now, I've already picked out a color that I can see on these particular fabrics that I'm working on. First, let's go ahead and turn your grid on. So toggle that switch over and pick a grid color that's going to be good for you. So this little white dot is where I have started. You can pick from some of the basic colors or even get into some very specific ones and then hit apply. For me, the white is the easiest. Next, you want to go over to projection options, and let's just find the brightness for that grid that's right for you so you can really see what's going on. The last thing you can do is scroll all the way down and set up your stitch guide. Here, the line where the needle is actually going to stitch is in red, and I've actually made it as wide as possible. By making it another color than what the grid is, you can actually see the options, and then again you can make it wider. It goes up to a thickness of 8, and that way you can kind of see that in separation from the grid lines. Now, the next thing to do is figure out what grid number in metric is going to be right for your stitching. So for today, I am working with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but if you are working with any other one, you could use a simple seam guide like I did to find which metric setting would be best to follow. As you come back up to the grid, you'll find where you can set the grid size, and I've gone ahead and set it at 6. But as you make it bigger or smaller, you'll see your grid change right there at your presser foot. Now I can just put my fabric in place and then position the grid right next to my raw edge. I can see immediately that my stitching line is going to be 1/4 inch in. Now I said I'd show you a little trick about making your quilt-as-you-go stitching look perfect on the back. And the way you do this is you need to start in 1/4 inch. Now since I do have the 1/4 inch foot on, I can go ahead and lower that so my back line is even with the last red mark on the foot. I do like that if I have not lined up my line right here nice and even, it really shows up. So I'm going to just bring that back so I can keep an eye on the projected grid as I stitch. Now when I get down to the end, what I'm also going to do is stop a 1/4 inch from the end. So when we get down there, I'll show you how it looks. So yes, you can use the lines on the foot as your guide, but you're also going to notice that as the line right here with the grid becomes even with the edge of your fabric, you know you're there. I'm going to just back up a few stitches for a couple locks and then cut my threads. The other nice thing about using your thread cutter is when you're done, you can just come to the back side and trim all these little tails easily off, and they're practically hidden. go ahead and finger press this out. I'm going to go ahead and stitch down a few more pieces and then I'll flip it over to show you the final results. Ready to see the back? I think you'll be impressed with the quilting coming right to the edge every single time. See, this is what I was talking about, how easy it comes right to those little starts and finishes, just like you had been stitching in the ditch, but it's perfect, all thanks to using the grid and some basic lines to get everything to turn out perfect. If you're looking to learn more about your Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 3, I hope you'll check out some of our online classes where there's links in the description below and free videos in each course that you can preview to see if that course is right for you. I hope to see you in one of our online classes soon.